Artificial. System online.
Welcome to Surviving AI. I'm Carlo Thompson, and this is The Deep Dive. This is the show where we cut through all the noise, all the hype, all the fear-mongering around artificial intelligence.
Yeah, we try to.
We take the actual industry reports, the academic studies, the CEO predictions, and we distill it all down into what we believe is the only thing that actually matters.
Which is an actionable survival guide.
Exactly. This whole curriculum, Surviving AI, it isn't theoretical. It's for you, the professional, the student, the person trying to figure out what to do, right now, today.
That's really the core philosophy, isn't it? We have to move past this idea that the AI revolution is some far-off thing we can, plan for in a decade.
It's here.
It's here. It's happening. The data we're tracking, it confirms this every single day.
And just to put a hard number on that, to kind of ground everyone and reiterate where we started in episode 1, you remember we talked about the severity of 88% risk?
Mm-hmm.
Well, the immediate impact is already staggering. Our sources are indicating that 76,440 people, that's a specific number, have already lost their jobs to AI just in 2025.
And we should be clear, that's not a projection. That number comes from public layoff announcements where the companies themselves explicitly cited AI, automation, or efficiency gains as the reason.
This isn't just, regular job churn.
Yeah.
This is an active, ongoing displacement, a crisis.
And in that first deep dive, we really pushed you, the listener, to assess your own job's risk level, to get an honest baseline. Today, we are going straight for the jugular. We're tackling the single data point that, it consistently shocks people the most.
It shocked me.
It's the central paradox of this entire revolution. We're calling it the Great Divergence, why your college degree makes you more vulnerable.
I have to say, seeing this data laid out for the first time, it's genuinely jarring. I mean,
Yeah.
For the last, 50, 60 years, a college degree has been the ultimate safety net, right?
It was the golden ticket.
It was the golden ticket, the guarantee of stability. It was the permission slip for a comfortable middle-class life. We were all told the same thing. Go to college, get that piece of paper, and you'll be safe. You'll be fine.
And now
the data suggests that net has huge gaping holes in it. And those holes seem to be biggest for the people with the most credentials, especially in those entry-level white-collar jobs.
it completely upends the foundation of decades of career advice. So let's dive right into the comparison that really forms the thesis of this whole thing. This is straight from the source material, combining education level with job function.
Okay, let's do it. Let's unpack this.
Right.
So you take a job that requires maximum credentials. A licensed pharmacist. This isn't just a degree. We're talking a doctorate. 7, maybe 8 years of post-secondary education, plus state licensing. A huge investment.
A massive investment of time and money. And their automation risk. It's sitting at an alarmingly high 60 to 75%.
60 to 75%. That means the majority of what they do every day is immediately threatened by automation.
Right. Now, contrast that, and this is the absolute key insight, with a skilled tradesperson, an electrician,
Okay.
someone who likely entered the workforce through a 4-year apprenticeship, rigorous technical licensing, but they completely bypass the traditional 4-year university degree.
And their risk.
Their automation risk is consistently registered at a low 5 to 15%.
Wow. I mean, just stop and think about that. That's a difference of up to 70 percentage points in risk between two highly skilled, licensed professionals.
It's staggering.
You have a pharmacist who spent nearly a decade in school and an electrician who spent 4 years on the job site and in technical classes. And the electrician is, by any objective measure, in a more secure career path right now.
And that trend, it just gets magnified when you look at the broader college-educated workforce. Take junior accountants.
The classic entry-level corporate job. Bachelor's degree required, often on a CPA track.
Exactly. Their risk factor, a staggering 70 to 85%, because so much of their work is standardized compliance, it's number crunching, it's codified knowledge.
Meanwhile, a plumber, a master of, fluid dynamics and complex physical systems, their risk is just 5 to 12%.
When you stack up all the data, the conclusion you're forced to draw is, it's unambiguous. The single highest risk category in the entire modern workforce is the entry-level office worker who has a bachelor's degree.
Because their work is predictable. It's standardized.
And crucially, it's 100% digital. It exists entirely on a screen, which is AI's home turf.
So that's our mission for this deep dive. We need to understand why. Why does this great divergence exist? We all thought AI would replace physical labor first, robots on the factory floor.
The old sci-fi trope.
Right. But instead, AI has proven to be unbelievably good at replacing codified knowledge. The routine digital tasks that are the foundation, the very first rung of the white-collar career ladder.
So we need to identify the real protection factors. If a college degree doesn't guarantee your safety anymore, what does?
And we're going to break down a really comprehensive four-factor framework later in the show to help you answer that exact question for your own career immediately.
Right.
All right, so let's dig into this crisis right where it's hitting hardest. The beginning of the career path. We're calling this section 1, the crisis at the entry-level white-collar rung. And we need to look at the evidence, the proof, that these bottom rungs of the ladder are, well, they're being systematically sawed off.
And we have to start with the sheer scale of this corporate shift. You mentioned the 76,000 number, but the wider impact is over 100,000 employees affected by AI-driven layoffs in 2025. What's really sobering is that more than 35 CEOs didn't even try to hide it. They came out and explicitly, publicly linked these cuts directly to efficiency gains from AI and automation.
That's a huge shift. It used to be something companies would bury in an earnings report. Now it's a public declaration of strategy.
It's a flex. They're telling Wall Street, look how efficient we're becoming. We're replacing headcount with software.
And this isn't just, small tech startups trying to cut corners. These are the giants. The blue chip corporations. Look at the tech titans first. Microsoft cut around 15,000 employees in 2025.
And they were very open about it. They said they were shifting resources toward core AI infrastructure.
Which is a corporate way of saying they're trading human headcount for computing power and for a smaller number of very specialized, very expensive AI experts.
Exactly. And Cisco did the same thing. They cut hundreds of jobs while pouring resources into what they called faster growth, AI-driven areas like networking and security. It's a pivot.
And the roles being cut, this is the critical part, are the highly educated back office jobs that were traditionally seen as the most stable career paths you could find.
IBM is the perfect, almost textbook example of this. Their CEO, Arvind Krishna, was incredibly blunt about it.
He was.
He said AI chatbots had replaced several hundred HR roles. They eliminated around 200 human resources positions, along with cuts in marketing and communications. These are jobs that require degrees, soft skills.
And they're just gone.
Yeah.
Replaced by an agent.
Replaced by an agent. And at the same time, IBM is aggressively hiring for these incredibly complex, highly specialized roles in AI engineering and high-level sales. So what you're seeing is the hollowing out of the middle and the bottom.
Right. The entry points for so many college graduates are just vanishing.
And if you think this is just a tech industry thing, you're not paying attention. The financial sector is showing the exact same behavior.
Citigroup is targeting a colossal 20,000 headcount reduction.
20,000.
And they're specifically linking those future cuts to automation efficiency in their middle office and operational functions.
Think about what that means. Those are the roles that used to absorb thousands and thousands of business school graduates every single year.
Gone.
Goldman Sachs is a bit more cagey with the specific numbers, but the internal message is the same. They're telling employees to expect reductions tied to maximizing AI-driven productivity in things like compliance and reporting.
So the pattern is becoming crystal clear.
Yeah.
If your primary job function is processing data, writing standardized reports, or ensuring regulatory compliance,
In other words, if your job is inherently codified,
you are a prime high-value target for AI automation.
and it's everywhere. You mentioned the scope. Salesforce cut customer support roles because AI agents now handle, they claim, about 50% of all customer interactions.
50%.
Accenture, a massive global IT consulting firm, announced plans to cut 11,000 roles. They said they're focusing on automating internal tasks, especially in non-client-facing roles.
And their message to the workforce was, it was stark, wasn't it?
It was brutal. They basically said, if we can't reskill you into an AI-augmented role, you will be exited. That's the corporate term, exited.
Wow.
And even retail, you wouldn't think it. But Nike has been automating parts of its supply chain, its digital operations, leading to cuts directly linked to AI-driven forecasting and efficiency.
This is also a global movement. It's not just a U.S. or European thing.
Not at all. Tata Consultancy Services, or TCS, one of the biggest IT services firms in the world, cut 2% of its workforce. They explicitly cited automation and AS productivity programs as the driver. It's a systemic, global consolidation of the routine digital workforce.
Which brings us to what I think is the most tragic irony in all of this data. The breakdown in software engineering and the commoditization of junior work.
Hmm.
I mean, we all grew up with this idea, this belief, that if you majored in computer science, you were set. You were guaranteed a prosperous life.
Right.
Now that very path is breaking down first.
It's the paradox of perfection, isn't it? The field that created this technology is one of the first to be disrupted by it at the entry level. The Federal Reserve data right now shows a 7.5% unemployment rate for recent computer engineering graduates.
7.5%.
And 6.1% for computer science graduates. This is an incredible historic reversal. To put that in perspective, some categories of liberal arts graduates who were, the butt of jokes for decades about finding a job.
Right, the philosophy majors working at Starbucks.
Exactly. They now have statistically lower unemployment rates. The safest major has suddenly become a minefield for anyone trying to get their start.
So let's talk about the why. Why is this happening specifically in development?
Because the entire apprenticeship model of software engineering, the first 1 or 2 years of a junior developer's job, was built on a foundation of what?
Generating boilerplate code.
Generating boilerplate code, implementing standard algorithms that have been done a million times, writing routine documentation, fixing simple, known bugs.
All codified tasks. Tasks that follow a very clear, unambiguous set of rules.
And that is exactly what AI excels at. It's a perfect match.
We're seeing the proof in the usage data.
We are. There's a really in-depth study in 2025 by Anthropic on its Claude Code model, and it found that 79% of user interactions were classified as automation.
79%.
That means the AI did the heavy lifting, it generated near-complete blocks of functional code, and it left the human as just a validator, a reviewer, a supervisor.
And only 21% of the interactions were what we would call true augmentation, where the human and the AI were collaborating on a complex, novel problem.
So let's just stop and really internalize that 79% number. If nearly 4/5 of the basic entry-level work is now being automated, what does that actually mean for a junior engineer's career path?
It means it's gone.
It means the market has fundamentally and probably permanently devalued the act of manually typing out code. The human value is migrating entirely upstream.
Towards what?
Toward specification, guidance, complex validation, the higher-order system-level thinking. The junior engineer's job, as it existed even 5 years ago, is being eliminated.
And this creates what the sources are calling the broken rung risk, which is something that businesses themselves should be terrified of long-term.
They should be. Historically, junior engineers developed crucial tacit knowledge by doing all those boring codified tasks.
Define tacit knowledge for us. It's not just, knowing the code.
No, not at all. Tacit knowledge isn't in the official documentation, it's the institutional wisdom. It's knowing why that specific ancient legacy database system fails every Thursday afternoon at 3 p.m.
Right.
It's understanding the unwritten, messy business logic that dictates why a customer's shipping address is stored in 3 different conflicting tables. You gain that wisdom by fixing the small, annoying, repetitive bugs that AI now just solves automatically in a second.
So if AI removes all those foundational steps, the repetitive tasks where you earn your scars and you learn the system's quirks and weaknesses.
You prevent the development of that tacit knowledge. You get an immediate win on your payroll. You cut headcount. It looks great on the quarterly report. But in 5 years, you have a catastrophic shortage of experienced senior talent.
Because no one knows how the system actually works anymore.
Exactly. You have no one capable of designing and maintaining the increasingly complex systems that the AI itself depends on. The entry-level market collapses, and the talent pipeline for the future gets completely choked off.
So the lesson here is, it's just paramount.
Yeah.
Your value has to shift from being the doer of the code to the designer of the entire system.
That's the new reality. The market is now rewarding system architecture and complex problem solving, the ability to design large-scale systems and manage these AI-driven workflows. That is the fundamental difference between augmentation and outright replacement.
And if we look just outside of core engineering at a field like customer service, the situation is even more, well, it's more binary, isn't it?
Oh, it's completely binary. Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI, he couldn't have been more blunt about it. He predicted that entire job categories, specifically customer service, will be, and I'm quoting here, totally gone.
And not in decades.
No, he said it would compress decades of job market change into just a few short years.
And his prediction is based on what? The acceleration of the technology itself.
It's based on the accelerating capabilities of large language models and the rise of what we call agentic AI. These systems are just inherently superior for most routine customer interactions.
Why superior?
Well, think about it. They offer 247 instant assistance. They can access and cross-reference vast databases simultaneously. They can process dozens of languages flawlessly. And they can navigate complex phone trees without the fatigue or the emotional stress that plagues human agents. They never have a bad day.
We're already seeing these huge productivity spikes in the data.
We are. Studies are showing that when AI is used just as an assistance tool for a human agent, it increases their productivity by 14% on average.
And that benefit is disproportionately applied to the newer, less experienced workers, right?
Exactly. It's essentially raising the floor of mediocrity. It makes a brand new agent almost as effective as someone with 5 years of experience on day one.
And what about the language proficiency aspect? That seems huge.
It's a game changer, especially for the global call center industry. The AI models are leading to massive improvements in agent language proficiency. So for workers based in places like the Philippines, where call centers are a huge part of the economy, the AI can correct for non-native fluency issues, for accent, for comprehensibility in real time. It makes every single agent sound like a perfect native speaker of whatever language they're targeting.
Which dramatically increases the supply of good agents.
It makes the human workforce completely interchangeable, which drives down cost and accelerates the push for full automation.
So for you, if you're listening to this and you're in that highly vulnerable customer service sector, the choice isn't about avoiding AI. It's about leveraging it or, frankly, leaving.
That's the binary choice. You either have to transition to an adjacent, higher-order role that requires genuine human connection and salesmanship, think HR, high-level sales, customer success management, or you have to become an AI-savvy collaborator. The routine call is dead. It's gone. Your value now is only in handling the escalated problem, the novel issue, the angry or complex customer that the AI feels with, and then using AI tools to make yourself 10 times more effective on every other call.
So trying to just keep your head down and do the job the old way.
It's not an option. You're trying to compete with a system that is designed to replace you. You have to collaborate or you will become obsolete.
So the digital world it's proving to be a minefield of job risk, especially at that entry level. Which really begs the question, where is the safe harbor? If the highly educated entry-level office worker is in the highest risk category, where on earth do we look for safety?
We have to look in the complete opposite direction. And this brings us to Section 2, the resilient zone, the value of unpredictability and physicality. We have to shift our focus to the often overlooked but incredibly low-risk skilled tradespeople.
It's so counterintuitive. While we have computer science graduates struggling to find a job, the people who build and maintain the physical world they're in astronomical demand.
And this isn't just our analysis. The source material provided a quote from the one person who probably understands the underlying mechanics of this AI revolution better than anyone on the planet. Jensen Huang, the CEO of Nvidia.
The man whose company is literally building the engines of AI.
And Huang's observation is it's profound in its simplicity. He said, electricians, plumbers, and carpenters are in astronomical demand.
The leader of the company powering the digital revolution is telling the world that the safest jobs are the ones that require physical labor, adaptive skill, and a tool belt.
The irony is just staggering, isn't it?
It's unbelievable. We're building this most advanced digital intelligence the world has ever seen. But that intelligence, it can't exist without a vast, reliable, and fundamentally dumb physical infrastructure.
An infrastructure that humans must build and maintain.
Talk us through the physical necessities of AI. It's not just magic in the cloud.
No, not at all. Every single query you put into a large language model, every image you generate, it runs on servers. Those servers are housed in massive warehouse-sized data centers.
And those data centers are power hogs.
Unbelievable power hogs. They require huge amounts of electrical power, often needing their own dedicated substations built right next to them. They need incredibly complex cooling systems, HVAC, because the servers generate extreme heat. And they need extensive plumbing for maintenance, for safety systems, and in some cases for specialized liquid cooling.
And an AI cannot build its own electrical grid.
It cannot. It can't repair a burst pipe in the server room cooling system. The entire digital revolution is built on a foundation of concrete, copper wire, and PVC pipe. It's all underpinned by physical reality.
And that's where we see the fundamental difference in the job requirements.
Exactly. White-collar automation excels at codified, routine digital tasks, summarizing 1,000 legal documents, generating a quarterly financial report. A machine can do that perfectly because it's operating in a standardized digital environment.
But a skilled tradesperson,
Yeah.
they operate in the real world, the messy, unpredictable, non-standardized physical world.
That is their protection factor. An electrician isn't reading a PDF on a screen. They are physically troubleshooting why a circuit breaker keeps tripping in a 50-year-old commercial building.
So they're dealing with non-standard wiring.
Decades of old, forgotten code violations, adaptive problem solving that relies on touch, on sight, on spatial navigation within a completely chaotic, unique environment every single time.
And AI, at least for the foreseeable future, it struggles profoundly with that kind of physical unpredictability.
It can simulate physics in a computer, but it cannot currently perform real-time, high-stakes physical diagnosis in a constantly changing, non-standardized environment. At least not affordably or reliably enough to replace a human.
And this massive divergence is causing what the sources are calling an economic windfall in the trades. The market itself is actively correcting the narrative that a college education alone is the path to security.
The market is just responding to basic supply and demand. We are seeing severe critical labor shortages across all of these resilient sectors. Current projections are showing a 550,000 plumber shortage by 2027.
500,000 plumbers.
And even more immediately, there's a massive accelerating shortage of electricians. And that's being directly fueled by this explosion of data center construction and the demand for the complex electrical systems needed to power them.
And when you have scarcity like that, wages.
Wages skyrocket. You're creating a level of economic security that now far surpasses that of many of those entry-level white-collar knowledge workers we just talked about.
What are we talking about in terms of actual numbers?
Experienced, licensed electricians in major metro areas are now routinely earning in the $80,000 to $120,000 range. Master plumbers, especially those who can handle large commercial contracts, are easily clearing six figures.
And HVAC technicians.
HVAC techs with commercial experience are in such high demand they're getting competitive signing bonuses and extensive benefit packages. The power has shifted entirely to the worker.
And meanwhile, that cohort we identified as high risk, the junior accountants, the entry-level paralegals, the marketing coordinators, they're seeing stagnant wages.
Because they're competing directly with sophisticated, cheap, and constantly improving AI models. The lesson here is just. It's absolutely paramount. In the AI era, your proximity to the physical world and the non-codified adaptive knowledge required to manipulate it, that is a massive source of career protection.
So we are literally, and this is not an exaggeration, we are talking about a world where the fastest, most reliable path to a six-figure income might involve a tool belt and an apprenticeship, not 4 years of student debt and a computer science degree.
That is the new reality. It's a huge, necessary pivot in how we think about careers, and the data is forcing it upon us whether we're ready or not.
Okay, so if the college degree is no longer this guaranteed safety net, then we have to ask, what is the actual protective mechanism? What really works? And that brings us now to Section 3, the 4 protection factors. This is the actionable framework you need to apply to your own career right now to honestly assess your resilience.
And the critical realization here is that resilience isn't just one thing, it's layered. Protection comes from having multiple overlapping factors all working in your favor.
So a high salary or a fancy title isn't enough on its own.
No, it might delay automation for a bit, but only certain innate fundamental characteristics of the job itself can truly resist the efficiency gains that AI brings to the table.
All right. Let's introduce the 4 factors that we've distilled from all the source data. And for you, the listener, you should be scoring yourself on a scale of 0 to 10 for each one of these as we go through them.
Let's start with factor #1, physical unpredictability. We just talked about this with the trades, but let's really solidify the definition. This factor measures how much your job requires you to navigate chaotic, non-standardized physical environments and use a level of human dexterity that current robotics simply cannot replicate efficiently or affordably.
Okay, so on our 0 to 10 scale, if you work in an office at the same desk every day with a highly standardized digital workflow, you're scoring a 1 or a 2 here. Your environment is basically optimized for automation.
But if you are a commercial roofer and you're dealing with constantly changing weather, non-standardized building materials, variable roof geometries, and physically demanding non-routine maneuvers, That's an 8, a 9, maybe a 10.
Because AI just can't model the real world yet with enough fidelity or speed or dexterity to replace that kind of on-site, hands-on diagnosis.
Not yet, and not for a long time at a cost that makes sense. Okay, factor #2. Human connection and empathy. This one addresses the emotional, the relational element of work.
So these are jobs requiring genuine emotional intelligence, crisis intervention, deep, non-transactional human trust, and highly non-routine, unscripted communication.
Right. Again, 0 to 10. Data entry, claims processing, administrative tasks that basically follow a script or a codified process.
Yeah.
You're scoring a 0 or a 1. There's very little true human connection there.
But roles like hospice care, crisis counseling, teaching young children, or even high-stakes sales negotiations, where building rapport is everything, those score a 9 or a 10.
Because AI can synthesize information and it can mimic a conversation flawlessly, but it cannot, at a deep level, deliver authentic, non-routine emotional intelligence. It can't build the kind of trust that's necessary for these critical human relationships.
All right. That brings us to the third one, factor #3, high-stakes judgment plus personal liability.
And this is perhaps the most critical legal and ethical barrier to full automation. It defines jobs where the wrong decision has catastrophic consequences.
And this is the key part, that decision must be legally tied to a specific human's professional license or their personal reputation.
Because the public demands human oversight. We demand accountability.
So give us some examples. A junior financial analyst creating a standardized quarterly report. They're scoring low here.
Very low. The AI can assist, it can even write the whole report, and the ultimate liability rests with a senior partner or the CFO who signs off on it. But a civil engineer who puts their personal stamp, their signature, on the structural integrity of a new bridge design.
That's a 10.
Or a surgeon deciding, in the moment, whether to operate or not. That's a 10. The public demands a human being with a name and a license to take responsibility for that life or death decision.
But I have to push back here a little bit, because we know from the data that models like GPT-4 and others can now pass medical licensing exams, the bar exam, even financial certification tests, and they often score in the top 10%. So isn't this liability barrier just temporary? Won't insurance companies just update their policies in a few years to accept AI-generated decisions?
That was a fantastic question, and it gets right to the core of this resistance mechanism. While it's true that an AI can pass the knowledge test, it cannot assume the liability or earn the public trust required for the judgment call.
So it's not what the AI can do, it's what society will allow it to do.
Precisely. The barrier isn't just technological, it's ethical and legal. If an autonomous system designs a bridge and that bridge collapses, who goes to jail? Who loses their professional license?
Right, there's no one to sue.
Until our legal frameworks evolve to a point where they can place genuine criminal and civil liability on an algorithm or on the company that produces it, which is an unbelievably complex ethical and legal nightmare, humans must retain that risk. The public's trust in human indemnity is currently the single strongest protection for high-stakes professional jobs.
So it's not about the knowledge, it's about the signature on the dotted line.
It's the signature. Exactly. Okay, that brings us to the last one. Factor #4, multiple overlapping barriers. This is the structural, the bureaucratic protection. It concerns jobs that require multiple credentials, years and years of experience, mandatory continuing education, and legal barriers to entry that just stack up and make simple replacement really difficult.
Let's use the contrast again. A customer service representative. They typically need a high school diploma and maybe 2 weeks of on-the-job training.
So on our scale, that's a 1, maybe a 2 or 3. The barriers to entry are minimal.
Now let's go back to that surgeon again. They need an undergraduate degree, then 4 years of medical school, then a residency that can be 3 to 7 years.
Then board certification, then mandatory continuing education every year to keep that certification, then malpractice insurance, which is its own barrier, and then finally hospital privileges.
That's 6 distinct mandatory layers of structural protection.
And the more layers of regulatory and professional barriers a job has, the harder it is for AI to fully replace it, even if the AI is technically capable of performing some of the routine tasks. A human still has to maintain all those credentials and, critically, shoulder that legal burden we just talked about.
So the crucial takeaway here is that protection isn't singular. You can't rely on just one of these.
No, you need multiple factors. A job that scores really high on only one factor. Let's say you have high-stakes judgment, but your work environment is entirely predictable and digital is still very vulnerable. But if you score high on 3 or all 4 of these factors, your career resilience is exponentially more secure.
Okay, so let's apply this entire framework to the original shock factor that started this whole conversation, the case study comparison of pharmacy versus nursing.
Let's do it.
We saw that pharmacists face a 60 to 75% automation risk, while registered nurses sit at only 5 to 15%. Both require advanced degrees, both require state licensing. So let's use the factors to explain this huge divergence.
Let's start with the pharmacist's vulnerability and run it through the numbers.
Okay, factor #1. Physical unpredictability. I'd score this very low. A pharmacy is a highly controlled, standardized environment. The medications are standardized, the workflow of counting, checking, verifying. It's all optimized for routine.
Right. And automated dispensing machines are already common. The AI is working in a space that has been purpose-built for automation, so it's a 1 or a 2.
Factor #2. Human connection and empathy. I'd say this is medium-low. While patient counseling is a required part of the job, the primary value is codified knowledge-drug interactions, dosage verification. The connection is often transactional and brief.
I agree. Maybe a 3 or a 4. It's important, but it's not the core of the resilience.
Factor #3. High-stakes judgment plus personal liability. This is medium. They hold a license, absolutely. But their daily routine is centered around codified checks and balances that, frankly, an AI can probably flag faster and more reliably than a tired human at the end of a 12-hour shift.
And that's the key. The most valuable part of their judgment is being slowly reduced to a validation layer on top of an automated process, so maybe a 5 or a 6.
Okay, so their scores are low to medium across the board. Now let's contrast that with nurse resilience.
Let's run the numbers.
Factor #1. Physical unpredictability. This has to be high. A 9 or a 10. Nurses operate in chaotic, non-standardized patient care environments, emergency rooms, crowded hospital wards, complex home care settings.
They have to adapt instantly to fluid medical crises and constantly changing human conditions. An AI can monitor vital signs from a screen, but it cannot navigate a slippery hallway while trying to stabilize a crashing patient.
Factor #2. Human connection and empathy. Again, this is very high, a 9 or 10. A huge part of a nurse's job is fundamentally about bedside empathy, about crisis intervention, about building immediate human trust under conditions of extreme stress.
This is non-routine, unscriptable emotional intelligence. It's vital for patient compliance, for recovery, for the human side of medicine.
Factor #3, high-stakes judgment plus personal liability. Also high. They are constantly making split-second, non-codified decisions on the floor, interpreting complex patient data in real time, deciding when to escalate care, administering sensitive drugs, all situations where human judgment is demanded and their license is on the line with every action.
So the divergence is just. It's crystal clear when you use the framework. It's not about the level of education. It's not about the prestige of the degree. It is about the nature of the work.
Pharmacy work is data-rich, it's predictable, and it's highly codified.
While nursing is physical, it's unpredictable, it's high empathy, and it requires constant, non-routine judgment. This framework explains the great divergence perfectly, and it shows you exactly why certain highly educated careers are collapsing while others are soaring.
This data really provides a mandate for all knowledge workers. You have to redefine your value proposition. If you just scored your job and you came out low on those 4 protection factors, you need to understand where the market is now placing a premium. And this is section 4. Redefining value and education in the AI era.
The critical realization for anyone in a knowledge work role is that the market is currently rewarding augmentation over replacement. The question is no longer, how do I avoid AI? That's a losing battle. The question is, how do I master it and leverage it to focus on the higher order, complex thinking that the AI still can't replicate?
And our sources are revealing a whole new hierarchy of in-demand skills. The financial incentives to gain these skills are just staggering. The first and most obvious one is, of course, AML expertise.
And this means moving beyond just being a casual user of ChatGPT. This is about truly designing systems that leverage AI capabilities, fine-tuning models for specific business needs, and interacting with AI APIs at a deep technical level.
The demand for these roles has just exploded.
It's surged from 35% to 60% year over year globally. But the real story, the part that should get everyone's attention, is the wage premium.
Tell us about that.
PwC just released a report showing a massive 56% wage premium for workers who have specialized AI skills compared to their colleagues in the exact same job function who don't have them.
56%. And what was it last year?
Last year, it was 25%. It has more than doubled in 12 months. which tells you that the stratification of the knowledge workforce is happening at lightning speed.
So what you're saying is that two distinct classes of knowledge workers are emerging. You have the AI architects who are getting massive compensation packages, and then you have the AI users whose value is being rapidly commoditized.
That's exactly right. The second big area is system architecture and complex problem solving. We talked about the broken rung, the fact that AI is now handling the implementation, the boilerplate code.
Right.
Therefore, the highest human value skill is now the ability to design the large-scale distributed systems and manage these new AI-driven workflows. You have to shift from being the individual coder, the bricklayer, to being the master architect who designs the entire structure.
The third skill is one that's incredibly practical, and it's called AI orchestration.
This is basically prompt engineering on steroids. It's evolved into a true, valuable skill set. It's the ability to define complex, unambiguous goals for an AI and then efficiently chain multiple AI tools together to solve a novel business problem.
So you're using one model for data analysis, another for visualization, a third for generating the presentation.
Exactly. You're the conductor of an AI orchestra, not just a single player. And this completely changes the definition of what an engineer or an analyst does. Their value is no longer measured by the hours they spend typing code or creating reports. It's measured by the efficiency and the complexity of the systems they can specify and then validate.
And finally, the structural backbone remains crucial. We're still seeing huge demand in back-end and data engineering roles.
Incredibly strong growth, a 65% increase in demand for machine learning specialists since 2019. Because at the end of the day, all these AI models are useless without clean, well-structured data. And humans must remain the guardians and the architects of that data architecture.
This whole crisis at the entry level, this broken rung problem, it's forcing a profound higher education reckoning. Universities can no longer afford to just pump out graduates whose core value is based on standardized, codified knowledge that a machine can replicate instantly.
And we are finally starting to see some strategic action that redefines the value of a degree. Take Purdue University, for example. In December of 2025, their board of trustees approved a first-of-its-kind requirement.
What was it?
An AI working competency graduation requirement for all undergraduates, starting in the fall of 2026.
All of them. Not just the computer science majors.
Every single student, whether you're studying history, philosophy, or engineering. The goal is to ensure that even a humanities graduate is job-ready and can adapt to the future by effectively leveraging AI as a tool instead of being intimidated by it.
That's a huge shift. It forces universities to address that fundamental anxiety that so many students must have right now, which is, what is the point of my degree if an AI can do the work?
And for computer science specifically, the curriculum itself is being reformed. Educators are shifting the emphasis away from manual code generation, which is now the low-value task, and instead teaching students how to read, understand, and verify AI-generated code.
So they're doubling down on the foundational concepts, the math, the algorithms, the logic.
Exactly. They're trying to move students from being pure implementation coders to being skeptical overseers. The market needs high-level conceptualizers, not keyboard monkeys, and education is finally, slowly adapting to that new reality.
And career services are advising graduates to broaden their search immediately.
They have to. With the entry-level software dev market contracting, they have to cast a wide net. They have to consider non-traditional CS jobs in finance, in biomedical fields, in UI/UX, in data science. They need to specialize in a niche to stand out, rather than competing in the now overcrowded generalist coding field.
And this whole transition, it highlights the increasing value of those often derided soft skills, which is leading to what the sources call the return of human connection in hiring.
You can see the urgency in the job outlook numbers for the class of 2025. Employers initially projected a modest 7.3% increase in graduate hiring.
And what did that number drop to?
It dropped dramatically to just a 0.6% increase. The jobs are still there, but they are fewer, and the competition is absolutely fierce.
And here's the problem that AI itself is creating.
It's the slop. AI is now so good at creating endless, flawless, but completely generic resumes and cover letters. Industry insiders are calling it digital slop.
And this explosion of perfect, generic digital noise, it forces employers to revert back to a pre-digital hiring algorithm.
Human trust.
Human trust. They're increasingly favoring candidates who are recommended by their trusted human networks. It's the classic friend of a friend referral over the random applicant they found on a job board.
Because trust and genuine human relationships cut through the digital noise that AI is generating. It's making social capital the single most valuable asset you can have in the job market right now.
And what's so fascinating is that AI is now, ironically, being used to coach the very human skills that it's making so valuable.
It's incredible. Tools like Protopia are emerging that help students craft professional, nuanced emails. They coach them on writing thank you notes, on following up, on how to build genuine social capital even after you've been rejected for a job.
So it's lowering the barrier for introverts or non-native English speakers to participate in this networking game.
A game that is now more crucial than ever for securing one of those few remaining entry-level roles.
We have now reached the final stage of this deep dive into the Great Divergence. So let's just summarize the central mandate one last time.
The data is definitive. Routine, codified, digital white-collar work is now the highest risk category you can be in, regardless of how many degrees you have hanging on your wall.
And conversely, non-routine, physical, high liability, and deeply human work is proving to be the most resilient. Your market value is now defined by your ability to adapt, not just by your attainment of a piece of paper.
So if you've been scoring your job along with us, you are now ready for the final, honest self-assessment. If you haven't, take a moment right now and apply our 4 protection factors framework to your current role.
Let's quickly reiterate the factors. We need you to tally your score 0 to 10 for each one. Factor #1. Physical unpredictability. How chaotic and non-standardized is your physical work environment? Remember, the chaos is your protection.
Factor #2. Human connection and empathy. How much does your job rely on genuine, non-routine human trust and emotional intelligence? The unscripted element is the key.
Factor #3. High-stakes judgment plus personal liability. Are your critical decisions tied to a professional license or a personal reputation that humans demand you retain? The signature on the line is the barrier.
And factor #4. Multiple overlapping barriers. How many layers of credentials, licenses, and years of mandated training are required to replace you?
All right, add up your score. Your total is going to be somewhere between 0 and 40. And you need to be brutally honest with yourself. This is the moment of truth.
If your total score is between 0 and 10, you are in the critical risk zone. This means your job has almost no layered protection factors. It is highly, highly likely to be automated or severely disrupted within the next 2 to 5 years. You must begin a transition plan immediately.
If your score is 11 to 20, you are in the high EH risk zone. You have some protection, maybe a single layer of specialized knowledge or a niche you've carved out, but the core tasks of your job are highly vulnerable. You face a significant threat within that same 2 to 5 year window. Immediate targeted upskilling into an AI augmentation role or a more resilient sector is non-negotiable.
If your score is 21 to 30, you're in the medium risk zone. You have structural protection in your career path. This means your job is more likely to be augmented, not eliminated. Your biggest risk is displacement by more efficient, AI-savvy colleagues if you fail to adopt the tools and master AI orchestration. You have to monitor this disruption very closely.
And finally, if your score is 31 to 40, you are in the low-risk zone. You possess multiple layered protection factors working in your favor: physicality, liability, deep human connection. Your focus should be on strategically leveraging AI to enhance your already secure position, which can drive up your wage premium significantly.
Hope is not a strategy. The data is clear. The divergence is happening right now. Use this knowledge. Use this score to drive your transition plan. Don't wait for your company to announce the cuts.
Thank you for joining us for this deep dive into the Great Divergence. You now understand why the job market is collapsing for the entry-level professional and soaring for others. Next time, we move beyond the risk assessment and provide what might be the most crucial information in this entire curriculum: the timeline.
Join us for Episode 3, the timeline when your job disappears month by month. We will be looking at specific pacing, adoption rates, and predicted milestones across different sectors, helping you time your career pivots so you don't get caught unprepared.
You don't want to miss it. Until then, get to work.
Thanks for listening. Join us next time on Surviving AI.